I remember, as a brahmachari, right? You wear like a dhoti,
Yeah,
which is essentially a sheet,
yeah,
and like a t-shirt.
yeah.
And what I slept on was like this little blow-up mat that was maybe an inch or an inch and a half
Oh, look at
thick,
you living
right?
in
No, no.
luxury with one of those ridge rests.
Oh, come on, man. Dude.
I was
Wait,
sleeping on the floor. Ugh.
sure, sure, okay. And
You're walking, living the life.
but at nighttime you just like blow that thing up. You're on the floor, and then you take your dhoti, and that becomes like the sheet. And then you take like your sweater and you put that in your t-shirt, and that's your pillow.
Mm,
And that's how you live, and we're happy that way. It's like a little austerity in life. We re- if we're not careful, we just our mind just becomes so trained to just seek comfort, and be disturbed when the comfort's not there. And then what
yeah,
happens is the material world goes and makes you a little uncomfortable.
because our
And,
bodies get uncomfortable and we just become
yeah,
ornery old men.
yeah. Then you can't. Then you can see old people that are just bitter, 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 and then these wise old people, just doesn't matter what's going on. They've
Yeah.
got something. They've got some happiness in the heart. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur said, "A learned person accepts only what he needs."
Hmm.
There's something in that. There's something in that. Minimizing, simplifying,
Mm.
simplicity and kindness. That's the mode of the yogi.
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily spiritual podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show. It's December 27th, and this is episode 1503. Welcome, everybody. Good morning, Kaustubha. Looks like you're at a new location.
I am.
You're at the Govardhan Eco Village. You're warming it up for us.
Okay, I suppose if you see everything in relation to yourself, I suppose you could say that.
Yes, I do. It's called
Okay.
materialism. We had a wonderful Christmas. After I was a little down on Christmas morning because the kids' flight was late, but now
It
they
picked
have
up,
all
right?
arrived in Brooklyn.
I want to hear what happened because
Later,
it looked like you made it the best Christmas of all time. I saw you there
you know what? It
with
was a
Grandma
great
Terry.
Christmas, and then we
See?
had Christmas, and we got back at like 1 in the morning. I'm glad we didn't do the show because we were all exhausted driving back from New York. You know what we did do in New York, which if you go to my Instagram, you go to the last, they had all these family things, and you go to the last frame, it's me and Mara in front of a red building. We
Oh yeah.
found the Henry Street Temple, which was
Oh
right around
yeah.
the corner from my brother's house. And we had this, while they were serving meat, there's a meat section of the Capo family. And we were just like, we're gonna go for a walk during the meat section.
Okay.
And we ended up on Henry Street, and I thought, wow, I wonder where the Henry
Go
Street
find it.
Temple was, because it was right around where my brother lives. Sure enough, it's right around the corner. And we were just
Cobble
like
Hill.
imagining, man, Prabhupada was right here. And then we Google searched the Henry Street Temple to find the explicit address. And there's a whole article in the New York Times about the Hare Krishnas on Henry Street. And there's like 55
That
devotees living in this building. I'm just like,
that
and the neighborhood, it's an old Italian neighborhood.
yeah.
What must the neighborhood
Prabhu, their
thought?
stories. They
Oh, and
freaked out. It wasn't just an Italian neighborhood. That was an Italian mafia run neighborhood.
oh, really?
That was like Crazy Joe Gallo's gang, like lived in that neighborhood, ran that neighborhood. There was like there's some stories of,
Okay.
things getting a little heated.
A little easy.
But it all
A
worked
bunch
out
of
in the end.
mobsters versus a bunch of crazy mobsters versus a bunch of crazy Hare
That's crazy,
Krishnas.
Hare
I let the real crazy win.
Yeah, there's a lot of devotion in those four walls of that building there. Tiny little,
Yeah,
powder keg that place must have been, right?
and I think a lot, and I just there's a famous picture of Prabhupada walking down those stairs with
Yep.
Kirtananda behind him, and it's just like This is like a beauty. It's like thinking about Prabhupada walking these streets and chanting these mantras, and the whole world, how Krishna consciousness has got so big, and a lot of the seeds were sprinkled all over New York City. And we thought about the time you took us to the place on the Upper East Side where
Upper West
Prabhupada
Side.
lived, Upper West Side where Prabhupada lived.
Yeah.
And I was just like, it's such magical stuff. So we felt very grateful. Then we came
Great.
home that night, and we had a great Christmas morning on the 26th.
Yeah, you
And
do it the way you do it. You know, you make it work.
you make it work. You make it work. It was very sweet. Mara is very wonderful. She cooked
She
all
made it a
day and
special
all night
holiday.
and made vegan lasagna and vegetarian lasagna for everybody. It was good.
Very good. Mara deserves a little rest now before you
She
pack
has
everything
not
up
got
and run.
any rest. The kids were up all night last night. She's just
So
laying
maybe
in bed.
today should just be like a rest day. You know?
No, are you kidding? She's got 25 of her own siblings and
Oh, that's
nephews
right.
and
Papa
nieces coming
Tony
over.
and Pookie
Today's
are
like the
coming over.
biggest one yet.
I want you to say hello to Pookie for me,
I will be
just
happy
because of
to.
her name. I mean, it's gotta say. I just
You would
feel
like
saying it.
Pookie.
Would I?
Yeah.
What do you-
That's Papa Tony's
I
wife,
think so.
right?
Yeah.
Up to his wife, yeah.
Yeah.
She's like a showman type of a person. Like there's no business like
Oh,
show
that guy.
business.
Okay.
It's just like that.
Those-
And
Yeah.
she's very dramatic, but in a sort of a charming way.
You and Pookie get along well.
Yeah, because we're both the
Yeah, you're a
same person.
showman.
Yeah.
All right.
She's
You
gonna love
guys.
the mustache.
Mm.
know.
No, she's gonna love it.
Very
Yeah.
distinguished. All right, let's get this moving here. We got stuff
Okay.
to do.
You ready for some announcements?
Oh yes.
Okay. Registration for session 9 Sage Groups is 94% full, and it closes tomorrow, December 28th.
It's closed. They're gonna just close it up.
Yeah, but those who are interested can now join a second group, but only from the groups that have remaining places available.
Well, that
You
makes
can go to
sense.
wisdomofthesages.com/sage groups to see that.
It's interesting. People want a second sage group.
Mm.
They're like,
Yeah.
double it. I'm in a
Yeah.
sage group, double it. I want 2 sage groups. This is like the supersize year, isn't it? Supersize me a sage group.
People, Tara, Jamuna Jelly, maybe others, maybe Bhakti Bihari, have had have led 2 sage groups,
Wow.
you know, in one session.
Wow. I mean, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Hey, I see it as a great
Also-
way to just stay connected. You know, like as you
I-
get older, why not have a sage group every day?
Yeah.
You know?
I know. You know
Yeah.
what? Why not?
Yeah.
That's
Why not?
Why not? No, it's just like, why not make that your New Year's resolution? I'm going to be in a sage group this year.
I'm being a sage group. You know what? Chapo and I were talking about a course that she's going to give. For those Spanish-speaking people, I would check it out. She's giving it on the 30th, and it's called, in Spanish, it's called Resetting the Algorithm in the Mind. I think I'm going to teach it in English, like later in the year.
Mm.
But, we say there are passive ways to reset your algorithm, like, like just engaging with other kind of content.
Yeah.
And then there's aggressive ways, like liking, or subscribing to things, or unsubscribing to things is like an aggressive way, And so, but we think like, one of the aggressive things you can do is join a group. That's when it's like, it's not just up to your whim. Maybe I'll pick up the Bhagavad Gita and read it today. It's like kind of like it calls you, once you've committed and that day rolls around, it's kind of like, okay, I got to show up now. And it's a good way to, we need that kind of support nowadays, with so much distraction. You join a little group. It only goes for 8 weeks. It's a short little commitment, but it makes a big difference.
payoff.
Yeah.
Big return on investment. Want
Yeah.
to hear about our nugget today, sir?
Hold on, I have some more.
Oh, you got
announcements
more
for
good
you.
stuff?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
Tell a Friend Friday.
Oh, it's Tell a Friend Friday.
Yeah, so check out our Sage community platform and share our new video promoting Wisdom of the Sages. Like and share on social media to help spread the word about our amazing community.
See?
And
Aggressive.
tomorrow's Q&A day. And our show's at 8 a.m. So if you have a question that you want answered, supporting members can post their question under the questions for the host tab in the community chat on our
Okay, good.
website. But if you're not a member, you can also email us at wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com.
Nice.
Alrighty.
And then Sunday, there's no show because Raghu and I will be traveling.
Yeah.
Monday, Kaustubha will do the show.
Now, okay, everybody. Kaustubha says my
I'll try.
sweet baby Krishna looks a little bit like the New England Patriots old
Just
logo with that
just reminds me a bit.
with the Patriot like hiking the ball to the quarterback.
And not only that.
Not only that, the guy on the 7-second single too. Come on, he doesn't, but I could understand how it could remind you of.
Yeah, it just reminds me of that. It doesn't look exactly like it or anything, but something in there reminds me of
Skins,
that.
brains, and guts, and the New England Patriots. I get it. Thank you. Any hardcore fan or New England Patriots fan can appreciate that. Timothy Tucker's laughing. Thank you. Oh,
'cause
here it
he's from
comes.
the
Yeah, there
Boston
it goes. Phil
There
D
you
put it
go.
on the board.
Yeah.
Thank you. All
I
right.
don't
let's
even
dive
think
into-
that's the exact one. I think like that's like a kind of a
think-
character based on it,
Okay, that's it.
or maybe that was like one era. That was it.
Oh yes. All right. Here
Let's
is,
get into who's the nugget from.
It's from Seneca.
Oh yeah.
It's one of the biggest of the Iroquois tribes.
No, no. Raghunath.
Those are the Senecas too, man.
No. Seneca was a Roman Stoic philosopher.
Stoic statesman.
He was, yeah.
Yeah.
What does he say?
He said a lot of things, but here's what we're going to quote today. This is not the man. It is not the man who has too little.
Oh, so you got to read it. It's only one sentence, so read it slow.
It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more that is poor.
Oh, okay.
The man who craves more is poor.
Come again. Read it again.
It is not the man who has too little.
We
but
think
the
generally it's
man-
the person that has too little that's poor, right? No.
Yeah. It's the man who it's the desires that make you poor. This
Right.
idea of this standard of living. What do you got to say about that?
Well,
I wrote down some notes.
Seneca was actually one of the wealthiest men of his time, you know.
Okay.
But it said that he maintained a practice of regularly subjecting himself to austere living, like eating really simple kind of meals and sleeping on like hard surfaces. Like kind of just like he engaged in that like intentionally to remind himself that true happiness lies in virtue rather than in luxury. And he said this as well. He said, set aside a certain number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, with coarse and rough dress, saying to yourself the while, is this the condition that I feared?
Mm.
You understand? Like
Yeah.
that, you take on a little voluntary austerity. It's good for you, right?
It's good for you. It makes you realize, what do I even need anyway? And this isn't so bad.
Yeah.
The pleasure we're getting is a pleasure from the ego, especially as we get older and we're feeling a little bit of irrelevance in contemporary world. We feel that. We feel like, oh, everybody worships the young. Who are these new? Even my kids yesterday were like, oh, put on this person on YouTube. First of all, we couldn't play music on YouTube when we were little. There was no YouTube. So, but they're putting on people on YouTube, so which is a thing that we didn't have to listen to music. And then they're playing people that I've never heard of. And they're all like, oh, yeah, this is a good one. And I was like,
what are you talking about? This isn't good.
it was good. I mean, whatever. So anyway, we there's a feeling when you get to a certain age. I've noticed this in my 50s where you feel like, am I irrelevant? What can I do to become relevant? And so it's sometimes there's like a latching on. You get these feeling of a midlife crisis or post-life crisis where you're going to feel relevant again. So we
kind of like
purchased
when all
those-
those like famous musicians from the 60s, like when the 80s rolled around, they started using like all these synthetic instruments and got short haircuts and new wave
who did
outfits
that?
and everything.
I know who did that. Somebody.
A
I'm
lot of
thinking-
bands did that.
A lot of bands. They cut their hair.
Yeah.
It's almost like they need. Tony Robbins did that too. He's like, I need a makeover. I used to listen to Tony Robbins like when I was in my 20s, and he was like a big dude, uncool dude, and you could tell he like rebranded himself. But people go through these, so they need to rebrand. They need to feel relevant. I guess you do it if it's your career as well. But it's our lifestyle and our life and our thoughts and our virtue that make us relevant, not some stuff. Sometimes there's social pressure, like you're competing. I want to, oh, look what they have and look what our neighbor have. And that kills people all the time to live that. There is a self identity to have with my things, what I drive, where I live, my address, you know, um, etc. And also, we still want this validation. If we haven't found our validation from our connection through God, then we want some desperate validation from the material world. We need the world to tell us we are good, and we have to be firm in our validation that we are connected. Our life has and we have to. It comes from really living a significant life of contribution, where we can feel like we are contributing to the greater good, where we wake up and we're happy about going to work. We're happy about who we have in our life. We're happy about who we're inviting into our life. We're happy with the direction where we're going. Before we need any type of medication to get us not depressed, we should really think about, do we love what we do? Do we love do we feel part of something bigger? Do we love our community? Check in with those things first. And then we'll start thinking twice about just trying to have unlimited desires to
Comforts.
unlimited comforts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking, because I was in Mayapur, I couldn't help but think back to, our days of living on the Navamundo Parikrama and just sleeping anywhere, but we're so happy, because we
So
felt so
happy.
connected.
So happy. We see that a lot with like bands. I've seen that in the music business. As
They're
bands
happy in
get
the
bigger
early
and
days.
bigger and bigger, they get less happier. Because we find that sometimes our material success can make you more sad. The bands went from like, we have no place to stay tonight. Where are we going to stay? Let's stay at some kid's house. Then as they get more and more opulent, they have their own buses, and not even a van. You're touring in a bus. When you tour in a bus, I could never tour in a van again. And then you get so big, like the little things of people bother you. And you start thinking, I won't even tour with my bass player. I can't stand my bass player. And so the bass player has to get their own private bus or own vehicle.
Oh, man.
I've seen bands like that. They will not tour with each other. And then it becomes this whole thing where you just like, unless we fix the mind, there's no amount of material success that'll make us happy.
That's the point.
That mind, and we might not notice it when we don't have. Might not notice. We might think when I have little, I might think, well, it's just, I just got to get bigger, got to work hard. No. You got to work on your mind from the time you're small, by the time you're young, or else there is no success.
Yep. Yeah. We got to. We need to train ourselves, and we need to keep an eye on ourselves. Am I just becoming like weak and soft? And it just brings misery. I remember, as a brahmachari, right? You wear like a dhoti,
Yeah.
which is essentially a sheet,
Yeah.
and like a t-shirt.
Yeah.
And what I slept on was like this little blow-up mat that was maybe an inch or an inch and a half.
Oh, look at you living
right?
in
Well, no-
luxury with one of those ridge rests.
Oh, come on, man. Dude.
I was
But-
sleeping on the floor.
Sure, okay. and
You're living the life.
But at nighttime you just like blow that thing up. You're on the floor, and then you take your dhoti, and that becomes like the sheet. And then you take like your sweater and you put that in your t-shirt, and that's your pillow.
Mm.
And that's how you live, and we're happy that way, It's like a little austerity in life. If we're not careful, we just our mind just becomes so trained to just seek comfort, and be disturbed when the comfort's not there. And then what happens is the material world goes and makes you a little uncomfortable.
Because our bodies get uncomfortable, and we just become ornery old men.
Yeah, then you can see old people that are just bitter, and then these wise old people, just doesn't matter what's going on. They've got something. They've got some happiness in the heart. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur said, "A learned person accepts only what he needs."
Mm-hmm.
There's something in that. There's something in that. Minimizing, simplifying, simplicity and kindness. That's the mode of the yogi.
I like that. Thank you,
We're gonna hear
Thank you,
something about
Seneca.
that. we start a new chapter today, and this will be a theme.
Bless you. Okay. Rayanam namaskrityadnaram chaivanarottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat.
Sneeze.
What's the now? Your sneeze has made me forgot the translation.
Before
Before starting the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, which is a very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan. Unto Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshu badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati tamashloke bhaktir bhavati naistaki, by regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees. All that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnanattamarandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmadatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. Reading from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 19, Text 1. And the name of this chapter is Lord Vāmana Deva, right? The dwarf, the beautiful brahmachari dwarf of Lord Vishnu.
Oh, you know what? You know who
Avatar.
just arrived at the eco village here last night, Raghunath?
A dwarf?
Yes.
Really?
4 dwarves.
4 dwarfs? Are you
Yep.
serious?
I'm totally serious. They're little cow dwarfs, 1 bull and 3 cows, little dwarf cows.
I was like, where is he going with this? Where is he going?
You said a dwarf showed up? Yes, as a matter of fact.
Well, are they actual dwarf cows?
Yeah.
The Zebos or
I
Zebus?
don't know what they're called.
It's a breed of dwarf cow.
Well, maybe that's what they are then.
Oh, yeah. They're like those cows they have in Jagannath Puri, little tiny
They're even
cows.
smaller, Raghunath. They're even
Even
smaller than.
Are they actual like dwarves or it's a breed?
Well, I asked, and they said, I said, are these like a certain breed, or are they like dwarves of like a normal breed? And first they said it was like they're
Breed.
dwarves, but
Breed.
then like I think they're kind
Dwarf.
of become a breed, you know?
Okay. All right. Great. Welcome
to
to
see them.
dwarf cows.
They just came last night.
Congratulations. That's going to be exciting. I'll milk a dwarf cow.
They still can kick.
It's a little kick, though. It doesn't hurt. Okay. So the name of this chapter is Lord Vāmana Deva begs charity from Bali Mahārāja.
You know, there's some real important lessons in this chapter, Raghunath. But one is what we were just discussing, because, you know, like if you can't be satisfied, if you find your happiness through external material things, there's no amount of that that's going to satisfy you. You know,
Oh, yeah.
it's that's one thing. But another really interesting thing that comes up in this one is there's going to be maybe the only time in the entire Bhagavatam where we see a disciple reject a guru's instructions, right? So much is spoken about the importance of carefully following the guidance of a very advanced spiritual guide.
Are there some rules when you can not accept the advice of a guru?
There definitely are. Yeah, there definitely are.
Okay.
But here, you see what happens here, Raghunath, and this goes to something that you say a lot, like when sometimes things make no material sense.
Yeah, I say that a lot.
But like an experienced devotee knows, even though this doesn't make material sense, I'm going to do it anyway. And with faith, they go into it. And that's what happens with Bali right here, you know, because he's going to be told by his guru, who's kind of like, you know, this priest that's kind of looking out for his own position in a sense, you know. He's going to say, this little dwarf here, this little beggar brahmachari dwarf who's walking up here looking all innocent and sweet, that's Vishnu playing a role. Is Vishnu appearing in just such a form where you feel you have to give him some charity? But it's Vishnu, and you know what he's going to trick you. You finally took over the whole universe.
You got it.
He's just going to take it right back, you know. He's going to take it right. Yeah. You know, it's like, didn't you see what Mohini Murthy did? That was Vishnu. He took on a disguise and he tricked everyone. This is what's going to happen right now. And so he's thinking from the material point of view, what he's saying makes perfect sense. And what Bali does is he realizes, you know what? Maybe I will lose everything. Maybe I will be tricked. But if I'm being tricked by Lord Vishnu, I'll accept it. You know, even though it doesn't make material sense, I'll be better off. So you get this, you know, this is something that as one goes deeper and deeper into their devotion, learns lessons more, and their faith increases. That, you know, one is capable of surrendering their life under any circumstances. It's a kind of a beautiful thing, and it'll kind of play out here in Bali's conversation with his guru. It's very interesting stuff, but that'll come a little later.
We're ready. Let's dive in.
Yeah.
Sukadeva Goswami said, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vāmana heard Bali Mahārāja was speaking in a pleasing way, he was very satisfied, for Bali Mahārāja had spoken in terms of dharma, or religious principles. Thus the Lord began to praise him. O king, you are indeed exalted because your present advisors are the Brahmanas, who are the descendants of Bhrigu, and because your instructor for your future life is your grandfather, the peaceful and venerable Prahlad Maharaj. Imagine Prahlad Maharaj was your grandfather.
Yeah, he's gonna actually. I mean, you can't imagine, but he's going to praise his forefathers, even the ones that in another form he killed. Right? He's going to say, "You come from an exalted family." It's kind of a setup. He is tricking him. He's saying, "You come from such an exalted family. Everyone in your family was very righteous and, you know, really rigidly followed dharma. They would all give in charity. You know, none of them would ever refuse someone like me that ever came. You know, so he's like glorifying him, but in such a way where it's kind of putting him, you know, kind of getting him in the corner, saying like, it would really be off for you not to give me what I asked for now."
It's weird because these the people we call demons in the Bhagavatam, they have like this religious duties, you know, and they have
a sense for.
They have a sense of culture.
Yeah.
They have gurus, they have, you know, consultants, but they just don't worship Vishnu. You think they are better or worse than modern day demons? Modern day people are just trying to create havoc in this world.
Yeah, well, I
You have
guess.
an opinion? Who have no culture.
I suppose I'd rather have the culture. You know?
Rather have culture demons in your life? Okay.
Because they all end up getting killed by Vishnu and liberated, you know.
Your statements are very true, and they completely agree with the religious etiquette. They are in keeping with the behavior of your family, and they enhance your reputation.
Imagine how beautiful he must have appeared as he's like, kind of like
adorable, beautiful dwarf.
And then speaking, just his voice must have been just like
eloquent.
Oh man, it must have been so sweet. And he's just like speaking truth, you know, like just speaking, you know, Vedic truths.
I know that even until now, no one is taking birth in your family. And no one taking birth in your family has been poor-minded or miserly.
You wouldn't want to be the first. You know, it's a little bit saying that.
That's a great phrase, poor-minded.
Yeah.
No one has refused to give charity to Brahmins, nor after promising to give charity has anyone failed to fulfill his promise.
You know, this also reminds me of in Mahabharata. Does this remind you of anything? This circumstance.
So many times people have vowed, like grandfather Bhishma. I vowed and I'm not going to go against my vow.
But not just a vow to give charity.
Karna. Oh, Mara says Karna to the sun god.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Where Karna, he had this. Again, it's like from the material point of view, it sounds like you're really putting yourself in a vulnerable position. After I do my worship of the sun every day, which what Karna would do, whoever approaches me for charity, I'll give them whatever they ask for. You know, you make that vow. Okay, seems like you're making yourself very vulnerable here. And so of course, Indra takes advantage of this to protect his own son Arjuna, right? Because if anyone could kill Arjuna, it would have been Karna. So Indra goes there dressed as a Brahmana, you know, some trickery, right? Sure. And what does he ask for?
His kavaches and his kundalas.
Yeah. Did he also ask for the arrows at some point too, as well? Or was that a different time?
What did he ask for? Rocco, what did he ask for?
Poor kid.
He just woke up.
Like, who?
What did Indra ask for from Karna?
Karna.
Yeah. He says Kavajas and Kundalas too.
Yeah. And so he hands it over. You know, he hands it over. And he says, I know who you are. I know why you've come here. I know that I'm making myself vulnerable by turning all of this over to you. But I'm going to do it anyway because my faith is so strong in Dharma, right? That I know that it'll bring me good fortune one way or another. They had that kind of faith. I'll give charity to whoever comes. I'll give them whatever they ask. So Bali's in the similar mood, right?
Yeah. Okay. O king, O King Bali, never in your dynasty has a low-minded king been born, who upon being requested has refused charity to the Brahmins in holy places, or a fight to Kshatriyas on battlefield. And your dynasty is even more glorious due to the presence of Lord Mahārāja, who is like the beautiful moon in the sky. So you're coming from a noble family. You're coming from a very, very noble family
Very
here,
noble.
right?
Yeah.
You don't want to screw up and ruin your family name. It was in your dynasty that Hiranyaksha was born. Carrying only his club, he wandered the globe alone without assistance to conquer all directions, and no hero he met could rival him. He's even
You know what
loved
I'm thinking too, Raghunath? Like
by-
if we were seeing a drama of this,
yeah.
he's speaking these words, and Bali's taking it all in. But Bali's priests must have been saying, "Oh man, look at this! Look at this!
Buttering you up.
He's buttering you up, man!" And oh, nobody's ever refused anyone charity. Hold it! Look at his glow. He's effulgent. This is Vishnu. It's got to be. This is a trick.
It's worth restating, which I said, I think, a couple weeks ago. The phrase "butter him up" came from the Vedas. I think it might have been from a Abhishek where they bathed the deity in butter and ghee.
Hold it. You think it may be? Last time you said it was that.
Well, they said in whatever it was online that I heard
Okay.
this from, they said like throwing butter at the deity, but I don't think people throw butter at the deity. I think they pour butter on the deity. They pour ghee on the deity.
Clarified butter.
And whoever was trying to like figure this out, some Western thought, they do this to get blessings. And in one sense, we do it for the pleasure of the Lord. We bathe the deity in ghee. And so from a Westerner's perspective, they're saying, oh, you're buttering him up to get something from him.
Right.
You're being obsequious.
Okay. that sound you just made, if I'm supposed to say like yes, I don't know what the word means. So I don't know. Not, the sound I think I know what it means, but the word.
Okay. And your dynasty is even more. Okay. It was in your okay. When delivering the earth from the Garbhodak Sea, Lord Vishnu, in his incarnation as a boar, killed Hiranyaksha, who had appeared before him. The fight was severe, and the Lord killed Hiranyaksha with great difficulty. Later, as the Lord thought about the uncommon prowess of Hiranyaksha, he felt himself victorious indeed.
In other words, your forefathers were very worthy warriors.
Yeah. When Hiranyakashipu heard the news of his brothers being killed, with great anger, he went to the residence of Vishnu, the killer of his brother, wanting to kill Lord Vishnu. Seeing Hiranyakashipu coming forward, bearing a trident in his hands, like personified death, Lord Vishnu, the best of all mystics, and the knower of the progress of time, thought as follows. Wheresoever I go, Hiranyakashipu will follow me, as death follows all living creatures. Therefore, it is better for me to enter the core of his heart, for then, because of his power to see only externally, he will not see me. Lord Vāmana continued, O king of the demons, after Lord Vishnu made this decision, he entered the body of his enemy Hiranyakashipu, who was running after him with great force. In a subtle body, inconceivable to Hiranyakashipu, Lord Vishnu, who was in great anxiety, entered Hiranyakashipu's nostril along with his breath.
Yeah,
that old
the Acharyas mentioned his anxiety was actually how to help Hiranyakashipu. He wasn't actually afraid of him.
Lord Vishnu's not in anxiety. Yeah. Upon seeing that the residence of Lord Vishnu was vacant, Hiranyakashipu began searching for Lord Vishnu everywhere. Angry at not seeing him, Hiranyakashipu screamed loudly and searched the entire universe, including the surface of the earth, the higher planetary systems, all directions, and all the caves and oceans. But Hiranyakashipu, the greatest hero, did not see Lord Vishnu anywhere.
You just see the detachment of, one of the qualities of Bhagavan is renunciation. He's got like no ego issues. He's happy to praise the person that, saw him as enemy, right? Oh, Hiranyakashipu was the greatest hero. He's just easily glorifying him.
Unable to see
him.
Hiranyakashipu's anger against Lord.
No, you were right.
Okay,
Unable to see
him, Hiranyakashipu said, I have searched the entire universe, but I could not find Vishnu, who has killed my brother. Therefore, he must certainly have gone to that place which no one returns. He must be dead. Hiranyakashipu's anger against Lord Vishnu persisted until his death. Other people in the bodily concept of life maintain anger only because of false ego and the great influence of ignorance. Your father, Virochan, the son of Maharaj Prahlad, was very affectionate towards Brahmanas, although he knew very well that it was the demigods who had come to him in the dress of Brahmins at their request. He delivered to them the duration of his life. What happened to Virochan?
That's about as much as I know.
Oh, okay. You knew everything.
He gave him the duration of his own life.
You also have observed the principles followed by the great personalities who are household or brahmanas, by your forefathers, and by great heroes who are extremely famous for their exalted activities. O King of the demons, from your majesty, who come from such noble families, who are able to give charity munificently, I ask, this is what he's going to ask, ready? What does he want, Mara? What does Lord Vāmana Dev desire?
3 steps of land.
Only 3 paces of land, and the measurement of my steps. So he's a dwarf. How big are his steps? They're like this little steps.
Many steps.
He's like, you came away here, you made this whole elaborate entrance. You glorified me up and down, and all you're asking for is 3 little dwarf-sized steps. Come on. Oh,
now let's hear what he says here.
O King, controller of the entire universe, although you are very munificent and are able to give me as much as land as I want, I do not want anything from you that is unnecessary. If a learned Brahmana takes charity from others only according to his needs, he does not become entangled in sinful activities.
Okay. Why don't we read the commentary to this? But yeah, if he that last sentence there, if a learned Brahmana takes charity from others only according to his needs, no more than he needs, then he does not become entangled in bad karma, right? This is the way a wise person kind of moves through the world, not taking too much.
You're allowed to take care of your needs.
Yeah.
Okay.
But once you start going beyond that, then there's a price to pay.
I mean, we could see that. We could see, like, once you delve into the luxuries of life, there's some karma there. You can feel the karma.
Usually someone's suffering because of it,
Right? Your life becomes more complicated.
Yeah.
And you implicate yourself in some karma.
Yeah.
People justify it in so many ways, but there's definitely some karma there.
Seneca did.
Right.
That's what I was reading. I read up a little bit on it. He said he kind of rationalized it.
Okay, yeah.
But go ahead. A Brahmana?
O King.
No. You want to read the purport?
Yeah, but you were saying Seneca, he was just wealthy. It doesn't mean he was like...
No. Well, you want me to read you what I got?
No. My point was you saying, well, we're not saying like he went out of his way to he could have just inherited tons of wealth. It might not have been like
he did anything wrong. I'm just saying he rationalized his wealth. That's all.
Sure. I'm saying some people kill themselves and they sacrifice their virtues to make their wealth. Some people don't. Some people just like they just have a bunch of wealth.
Yeah.
I don't think he might not have rationalized it. He just And then he
Well,
would dive into,
apparently he
he'd
did.
dive into austerity
From what
to
although,
experience it. Like Tolstoy did the same thing. He was just,
well, this is
he
what I
was,
got.
all right, what do you
This is
got?
what I got. I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying.
No, Chris.
Although Seneca wrote extensively on simplicity and self-restraint, his personal life often displayed contradictions.
Oh,
As one of the
come on.
wealth,
That's some bitter
why are you
cynic just
why are you
trying to
I'm
take
just
apart
saying.
his life.
Just hold
No,
on.
we're sitting back in an armchair trying to understand the
Well,
past.
well, you haven't let me
Oh,
read the whole thing. Just hold on. As one of the wealthiest men of his time, he owned vast estates and engaged in financial dealings that some criticize as extravagant. Some criticize.
all right, some do.
However, Seneca defended his wealth by claiming he used it wisely and virtuously,
There you go.
suggesting that external wealth did not conflict with Stoic principles as long as one was inwardly detached from them. Right?
Boom.
So
That's like
that's what I'm
Maharaj
saying.
Yudhisthira.
Yeah.
Okay. Lay
All
off
right,
him.
Raghunath, hear me out. That's all I'm saying.
A
Hear me out.
Brahmana or sannyasi is qualified to ask charity from others. But if he takes more than necessary, he is punishable.
Mm.
No one can use more of the the Supreme Lord's property than necessary.
You see,
Lord-
here it's saying that, like if you're a Brahmin or sannyasi, in a sense, you get certain privileges, right? It's like people show you a lot of respect. They hear your words, they take them seriously, but it's based on your simplicity.
Sure.
So if you're taking the privilege and not taking the austerity, well, then there's going to be a reaction for it.
Sure. A Brahmana or sannyasi is qualified to ask charity from others. All right. Lord Vāmana indirectly indicated to Bali Mahārāja that he was occupying more land than he needed. In the material world, all distresses are due to extravagance.
That's interesting. All distresses.
That's a
are due
great
to
line. That's a
extravagance.
great T-shirt, my friend. Mara.
All right. In the material world,
Mara teaches me
all
how to live
distresses.
simply. She's very simple-hearted. That's not an insult. That's like a glorification. Simple-hearted.
Simple-hearted.
Simpleton.
That's an insult.
What is it? No, you're simple-hearted.
Simple-hearted.
I think because you internalize this, that extravagance leads to distress.
Yes. One acquires.
No, I'm thinking I'm internalizing this, Prabhu.
Okay,
I'm
take your
not like,
time.
I know
ahead.
you want to rush through this. I'm trying to take this
I
in.
thought you got
and-
lost. I thought you lost your place.
I
I'm
know,
sorry.
and I do
Please
that occasionally.
internalize.
Many times per
You've done it a
show.
couple times in this paragraph, but okay.
One acquires money extravagantly. One acquires money extravagantly, and also spends it extravagantly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Goes out as fast as it comes in.
just goes out, comes in, goes out. I had a friend who was doing really good financially. He wasn't a devotee. He just never had money, and then all of a sudden he started making money, and he told me, "Yeah, I made $800,000 this year." I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's great!"
What?
And I said, he said, "Yeah, but I might have to declare bankruptcy." I was like, "Why?" He goes, "I
'Cause I
spent
spent more.
820,000." I
Yeah,
go,
like on the
"How did you?"
business.
I go, "How did you spend $820,000?" He goes, you just keep spending it. You just keep spending. If I can afford this, I can afford this, I can afford this.
Oh, like he spent it on extravagantly, not like reinvesting it into the business or something.
No, it's extravagant.
Okay.
Okay.
All property.
All property. All property belongs to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is a very great way to look at things. And all living beings who are sons of the Supreme Lord have the right to use the Supreme Father's property, but one cannot take more than necessary. This principle should especially be followed by the Brahmanas and the sannyasis who live at the cost of others. Thus, Vāmana was an ideal beggar, for he asked only 3 paces of land. Of course, there's a difference between his footsteps and those of an ordinary human being. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, by his inconceivable prowess, can occupy the entire universe. including the upper, lower, and middle planetary systems, by the unlimited measurement of his footsteps.
Okay, that's where the trickery came in.
It's trickery. Only want 3 footsteps. Oh, okay. I'll take everything.
you're so
I'll take it
small.
all.
Yeah, and then he even holds him responsible for not carrying out his promise
Yeah.
because he takes everything on the second step. There's that band called Second Step. You remember that?
Second step. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was some of CBGB's band.
Yeah, Second Step. They probably
Mills.
didn't even know. It could have been related to this. I think it was probably related to Madness One Step Beyond or something like that.
The second step.
But
Yeah.
Second Step.
It's one of those things you open up the Village Voice and there's all these bands playing every week. And they're not hardcore punk bands, but there's just bands trying to make it. And you know them just being a New Yorker.
I
Greg
knew
DeGasse-
Second
Greg
Step. I knew
DeGasse
the
could
guys
relate to me. He probably might have even been in Second Step.
in-
Okay.
All right. I think we're done for the day, Raghunath.
Oh, that went fast. So am I doing Q&A alone tomorrow?
Maybe I can join you for the
What's
first half
Kaustubha
hour.
doing?
He's
I
gotta
have
meet-
a Bhakti Center quarterly board meeting. It's like something I can't get out of.
That's the problem, being the senior educator at the Bhakti Center.
It has nothing to do with
Gotta
any
show up.
education.
You want to keep that title? We're going to
I
reduce you
don't.
down to a wandering man, almost 60. He is a wanderer with your co-host, Wandering Kaustubha.
I'll see if I can come for the first half hour. It's possible.
Okay.
Ready for some takeaways?
Yeah,
Yes.
Mara, keeping us back on track.
Hmm.
Look at that Christmas tree. We're going to leave it up, I think, until we get back in March.
The man who craves more is poor.
The man that craves more is poor.
Man who
Poor is the
craves-
man who craves more.
Well, what if they have
Mm.
enough money to desire what they want?
They're still poor because they won't be able to
The
satisfy their
desires.
desires.
What about if they just like, well,
You're
just want
challenging the whole theme?
Yes. What if they
Right
just
at
say,
the
well,
last
just
second?
no, I just want this. You know, if there's no Christmas tree, I just want a Christmas tree. Then I'll be happy.
Yeah, but they
Maybe they will
won't.
be.
That's the point.
Maybe they will
You
be.
won't be happy with just a Christmas tree. Then you're going to want like special stuff to put on the Christmas tree.
Yeah. After that, you'll be happy.
No, there's going to be more.
I want glass ornaments. Okay, go on.
True happiness lies in virtue, not luxury or Christmas tree
Right.
ornaments.
Yep.
Mhm.
Sparkling glitter.
We have so much glitter.
You got a lot of
around.
glitter at this house.
Tinsel. You don't put tinsel on it? My family used to do that. That little tinsel
No,
stuff.
tinsel.
I
I
think
think is it was
tinsel's
like
It's
20
outdated
years
now?
ago. It's
It's
outdated.
so, that was so like
It's
1970s.
the ever evolving Christmas has changed. Now we're into big inflatable snowmen.
Mm.
Stuff doesn't make us relevant.
Is there a star on the top of that tree?
There's not.
No.
There's not.
No star.
We
Angel?
changed Christmas. No.
No angel.
Taking angels out of
Nativity
Christmas.
scene.
Nativity scene. No.
Oh man, I thought
Yeah,
you
the
would be
sweet
into a
baby
nativity
Krishna.
scene.
Sweet baby Krishna is the
That sweet
nativity
baby
scene.
patriot.
Sweet,
I thought-
sweet patriot Krishna.
Sweet patriot Krishna.
Do
I
not
could see-
rebrand my Krishna. He's such a sweet baby.
I could totally. See.
That is not a ladu. That is a ladu, not a football in his hand.
Okay.
He's
But
not
I could-
hiking the ball.
I could totally see you with a nativity scene. You seem like
know
a
what?
nativity scene kind of
You
guy.
know what? We should get a nativity scene.
Get a nativity scene. I'm gonna
my
get
kids
you
are-
a nativity scene.
my
I'm gonna
kids are-
get you.
My kids are pretty Krishna conscious. They are not. They don't know much about Jesus.
They aren't Jesus conscious.
They aren't Jesus conscious.
Raghunath, I'm gonna buy you a nativity scene for next Christmas.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
All right.
Our validation comes from our connection with God.
That's right.
Timothy Tucker stuffed Alf and put him on the top of a tree.
Okay.
An
It's kind
Alf
of,
doll. That is
kind of
sacrilegious,
cultural
Timothy
appropriation,
Tucker.
but
That is horrible, Timothy Tucker. I am so let down. You turned Alf into your
Well, you have not until you don't say anything until you've seen it, Raghunath. Don't say
Okay.
anything until you've seen it. It might make
Alf
perfect
is a
sense up there.
fun-loving, worshipable little space.
I don't think you're supposed
He was from outer space.
to
Is it
fix the mind, or no amount of material success will make us happy.
Okay.
Fix the mind. We'll say that again. Fix the mind on.
Fix the mind, or low amount of material success will make us happy.
Okay.
Yeah.
If our mind's uncontrolled.
Yeah. There's never enough.
A learned person accepts only what they need.
Only what they need.
Simplicity and kindness is the mode of the yogi.
Yeah, yeah.
Simplicity and kindness.
All distresses are due to extravagance.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Kaustubha.
I'll be better off if I'm tricked by Vishnu.
That's right. Doesn't make any material sense, but it's true.
Can't trick the trickster. Thanks everybody for joining us. Ah. Why doesn't everybody post a picture of my book today? Post a picture of my book, Punk to Monk, and say, hey, a great book here. Check it out on your stories today. What do you think about that? Isn't it interesting that we're saying post on my stories? That entire phrase will not even exist in 10 years. Post on my stories. That's like not an eternal statement. That's like, it's almost like I hung up the phone. You can't even say I hung up the phone anymore. Back then, hanging up a phone, that was like a
You hung it
physical.
up.
Did you hang up on me where you actually angrily slammed the phone down? Remember that? Hanging it up. I'm going to teach him. I'm going to hang up. Man, he hung right up on me.
The day will come, Raghunath, where we can't slam the door anymore.
He slammed the door. How about what they call it? Signal dropped. No one's going to say my signal dropped. That is like a phrase of our time.
People also won't be able to say mic drop, because there'll be no mic to drop.
There'll be no mics. You will never drop things because things are all levitating.
There won't be any dropping
There
anymore
won't
in the
be
future.
dropping.